Hello everybody, welcome back to my very exciting fourth winter forecast for the year of 2020 to 21. We're going to be going over your temperature anomaly forecast, as well as your precipitation anomaly forecast, and also your snowfall anomaly forecast, and then we'll be going over your overall forecast at the end of the video. So make sure you guys are staying tuned all the way until the end. I make these daily videos every single day, so if you want to, you can subscribe. Make sure you have your notifications on so you don't miss when I do upload. So let's get right into the video. Let's start off with your precipitation anomaly map over parts of the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and parts of the Northeast. We're looking at slightly above normal precipitation. We're also looking at slightly above normal precipitation for the Northern Rockies and parts of the Pacific Northwest. A lot has really changed in this forecast from the third forecast to the fourth one, and that's mainly because we're going into a much warmer Enso phase. We're actually going into somewhat of a neutral Enso, which, if you don't know what the Enso is, it's a patch of water in the Pacific off of the South American coast where it really dictates what our patterns will be like in the winter. If you have a La Nina, you usually have those cooler temperatures for much of the north central US and the northwest. A neutral is more shifted to the east, and a El Nino is where you start to have some very warm temperatures over the east. So that's really what's changing in this forecast. We're going into a neutral pattern, which has a much colder outlook for much of the eastern United States. Now, here would be your second layer of above average or moderately above average precipitation, and we're looking at that over parts of the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes, and also for parts of the Pacific Northwest. Now, here is the slightly below average precipitation region, and you see that over much of the southwest, the south central, and down through the southeast. Usually in these neutral patterns, you don't see too much precipitation move through parts of the southern United States, so that's why I think you're going to see some slightly below normal precipitation for this winter. And I just want to point this out. This is going from December 1st to the last day of February. Now, here would be your moderately below average region, and this is for parts of California, Arizona, even a little bit of New Mexico and Nevada there, and also for parts of the Gulf Coast where I'm expecting moderately below average precipitation. This is where I think it will be the driest out of all of these regions. Now, here is our very exciting temperature forecast, and this is going to be showing you how cold or warm compared to normal it should be for this winter. Now, in this light blue, you can tell that I have slightly below normal temperatures for this region over parts of the northern tier of the United States. So from the northwest, the northern plains, even the northern Rockies, down through the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, even the Tennessee Valley, and then through parts of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, I'm expecting slightly below normal temperatures, and again, this is going from December to February. Now, here is the moderately below average temperature region, and this includes parts of the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. This is a very indicative sign of a neutral pattern. Usually in Enso neutrals, you have a jet stream that likes to dip frequently down into the east, and that is why I put you guys, especially in the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast, under that moderately below normal temperature region. And this is a much colder outlook than what I have for my previous three forecasts. And then here is my well below normal temperature region, and that's where I think the heart of the cold air will be, over parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, northern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, as well as parts of Pennsylvania and upstate New York there. That's where I'm expecting well below normal temperatures for this winter. Now, here is the above average temperature region, and that includes parts of the southwest, the Four Corners, the south central, and even parts of the southeast and the Gulf Coast. This is where I'm expecting above normal temperatures, where I think it'll be warmer than normal. Although for parts of the southeast and the south central, I don't think it'll be extremely above normal. I still think that there will be a few days where you get into that very cold air, especially if you have a very potent air mass that moves through. Although I think normally for much of the winter. I think it'll be fairly mild. Now, here's the second region of above average, and this includes parts of the southwest, the Four Corners, and parts of the south central, all the way to Louisiana. And this is where I'm expecting even warmer than normal temperatures. And then we even have a third area of above normal, and this is for parts of interior California there, a southern half of Nevada, southern Utah, all of Arizona, southern New Mexico, and also western New Mexico, and southwesternmost Texas there. That's where I'm expecting well above normal temperatures, and this is where I think for much of the winter, I think it'll be very, very noticeable that you're seeing these very warm temperatures. Now, very warm does not mean hundreds, 110 degrees. That's what you would classify as very warm, let's say in the summertime. If you have very warm temperatures in the wintertime, that might be 60, 70, 80 degrees depending on your location. So just keep that in mind. This is all based on your averages. Now, here is your snowfall forecast. I am expecting slightly above normal snowfall for parts of the northern Rockies, the northwest, also for parts of the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Tennessee and Ohio valleys, and also parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. This is where I'm expecting more snowfall than normal, and this is where I think you'll see even snowier conditions than what is typical. Now, I am also expecting above average snowfall for parts of the Midwest, and this would be moderately above average for parts of the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and parts of the Northeast there. That's where I'm expecting even more snowfall compared to your normal than in that light blue shade. And then in this darker blue shade, in this medium blue, this is where I'm expecting well above normal snowfall, and this includes parts of the Great Lakes, and also parts of the northern Ohio Valley and interior Northeast. That's where I'm expecting, again, the most above normal snowfall this winter. I have below normal snowfall for much of the southwest, the Four Corners, and also the south central, and then down through the Gulf states. And just so you guys know, if you are, let's say, in Florida, Louisiana, you guys don't typically see too much snowfall. So anywhere that's very far to the south that doesn't typically see snowfall, me putting you in a slightly below normal area doesn't really affect you. But what it kind of signals is that I'm expecting even a lower chance of you guys seeing snowfall that year. So if you don't normally experience snowfall, this really doesn't pertain to you guys. Now, here would be the moderately below normal snowfall region, and this includes parts of the southwest and also the southern Four Corner states. Now, here is the overall forecast, and we're going to be going over this. We're going to go from west to east here, so I hope you guys enjoy this. Now, here would be in the northwest, cool and wet conditions. I think it'll be very wet, but I also think that you're going to experience periods of cooler than normal activity, and that was reflected in my precipitation and temperature anomaly forecast. More mountain snow for portions of the northern Rockies. I'm also expecting less mountain snow for portions of the central and the southern Rockies. That's mainly just based on the precipitation outlooks that I've been seeing from multiple models, and also just based on normal end zone neutral patterns, and based on the past end zone neutrals that we've seen. Much of the southern and central Rockies don't see too much snowfall in those patterns. Now, here would be your warm and dry area for parts of the southwestern corner of the United States. This is where I'm thinking it's going to be warm as well as dry, but it's not going to be excessively warm. You will still have a couple cool downs here and there, but then in this dark red shade, this is where I'm thinking it's going to be hot. And that does not mean, again, I explained this earlier in the video when I was talking about the temperature anomalies, but hot does not necessarily mean 100 degrees, 110 degrees. That might be hot in the wintertime, in the summertime, but in the wintertime, hot might be 60, 70, 80 degrees. So it really varies on your actual normals for that time of year. And this is all based on the time frame from December 1st to the last day of February. Now, over parts of the south central United States, so for New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana, I'm expecting generally warmer and maybe even slightly drier conditions, and I think a good word to sum it up would just be milder. I don't think it'll be too active of a pattern, and I just think that it's going to be near normal to maybe a couple degrees above normal for the winter. Now, over parts of the Gulf states, this is where I'm expecting drier than normal conditions over much of the winter. Over parts of coastal Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and into parts of southernmost Georgia and all of Florida, I'm expecting drier than normal conditions. For portions of the southeast and the Tennessee Valley, I'm expecting the icy precipitation to really set up throughout this area. I think you'll see a lot of systems that track from the northern plains into the central plains and then down through parts of the southeast, and I think that's going to be the general storm track somewhere, just splitting the Midwest in half and then kind of going through the Ohio Valley or the Tennessee Valley. That's where I think most of the storms will move through, and of course, once you get that barrier between rain and snow, usually there's a thin area that gets a lot of icy precipitation or a wintry mix, whatever you want to call it. But that's why I think you guys will be in the ice zone. Now, over parts of the Central Plains, basically the areas surrounding Kansas, this is where I'm expecting back and forth conditions going from cold to warm, from dry periods to wet periods. You guys are going to be in the middle of everything, and I guess a good word to sum it up would be average. I think you guys will be in a fairly average pattern. However, I do think it'll still be going from cold to warm, so you'll go from one extreme to another. Now, over parts of the western north central United States, I'm expecting clipper systems. That means storms that move out of parts of southern Canada and come down through the northern plains. Over parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and northern Illinois, very cold conditions, and I think this will be one of the coldest areas for this winter. Over parts of the Great Lakes, I'm expecting lots of lake effect snow compared to normal. I just think that the lakes will be very, very active this season. Over parts of the interior northeast, the Ohio Valley, and parts of the Great Lakes, I'm expecting snowy conditions where I think a lot of storms will track throughout parts of that region, bringing much of that area some good, decent snowfall. And then for parts of the coastal northeast, I'm expecting coastal snowstorms to be present over those areas from Virginia to parts of coastal Maine there. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.